It is Run the North. Preseason week 3 is finally concluded. That means we finally have some real football on the horizon. I'm Will. This is Jason. We're talking Vikings and Bears, and I'm going to get us kicked off just with a little Vikings news. Wasn't a ton of takeaways coming out of preseason week 3. I think people more or less know what to expect out of the roster. There'll be a couple bubble guys to watch, either on D-line. I think the biggest thing to come out of it was this new quarterback news. This just in, Sam Howell out, Carson Wentz in, which is an interesting move. Howell did not look good at any part in camp and looked really bad week 2. I don't think he played at all in our final preseason game here. So we shipped him out to the Eagles and got Carson Wentz. All in all, we ended up getting more for Howell than we ended up giving away for him. So we netted up basically like a half round pick. So that's cool. Good to see Kwesi working his magic with the trade things, because I think he's sort of has a history of maybe overpaying for players a little bit. They also released Brett Rypien, not 100% sure how to say his name, but I think that confirms what a lot of Minnesota fans were hoping for, which is we are probably going to hang on to Gopher quarterback Max Brosmer. He's really been showing out in preseason and in camp. He's just got a little kind of got a little spark to him. So maybe he's a developmental player. I could see a future where maybe he Brock Purdy's JJ McCarthy. Who knows? But he's got a little something to him. He seems like a guy that could fit in. I mean, he's made some pretty sweet throws and had some good plays with the third teamers. Had some success against the Titans first string. So, we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. If JJ McCarthy does go down, I feel like Carson Wentz probably still gets the nod just due to his in-game experience. But pretty major storyline coming out of that final preseason game. We're all still waiting with bated breath to see if we bring back our boy Adam Thielen. I know everyone would love to see that, but it sounds like the Panthers aren't as eager to give him up as we hoped. Sounds like the asking price might be a bit high, which I don't know. In my mind, I don't think he can give up more than like a 5th rounder for him. Even though we have stockpiled quite a bit of picks, particularly with the conditionals that we're getting from both Sam Darnold walking. Looks like he will net us a 3rd in this upcoming draft, as well as Daniel Jones looking like he's going to net us a 4th. So we're actually stockpiling quite a bit of picks. And unlike the former GM Rick Spielman, who used to just covet these late round picks and draft as many guys in the late rounds as possible, Kwesi seems to like to use these more as trade bait. So you got to imagine we're picking up a wide receiver before the beginning of the regular season. If we do that, it's got to be someone that's familiar with this very complex system, which really creates quite a short list. Adam Thielen being at the top of that. I could see KJ Osborne coming back or Brandon Powell. So we'll see. That's the news out of the Vikings preseason. Just can't wait to get in the regular season.
Oh, hell yeah. And so we're recording this on a Sunday night here. Preseason is now over. What we're looking for timeline wise is this coming Tuesday is the 26th. I think it's 3 p.m. Eastern or 3 p.m. Central is the cut down timeline, where you'll go from 90 to 53 for all teams across the league. So again, half the league is going to be out of a job. That's probably for those bated breath waiting Vikings fans. That's probably when you're going to see some action, whether it's on the waivers or a trade. Once that all kind of settles, if guys say, I can get this guy, I want to keep the young guy, let's let the vet walk and save some money. Yep. That type of thing is pretty interesting to see. Do you think, 2 questions quarterback wise, Wentz was shipped out of Philly because there was just like a locker room concern, stubborn, didn't get along well with a lot of guys. Not that he was a bad dude, but just beat of his own drum kind of guy. Mm-hmm. He then went to the Colts, didn't go great. And I don't know if there's a stop in between there or not, but then he went to Kansas City as the backup with Mahomes and Reed. You got to think that that's something that really helped turn. I'm equating it to this. I see it very similar to how Darnold was treated. He had his high draft pick. Then he went to, Carolina after the Jets and somewhere else. Then he went to the Niners. Shanahan basically gave him a stamp of approval and said, all right, now he's good to go. And then we saw what he did with you guys. Now he's got a $1 million contract. Yep. Same idea with Wentz, or is it something that it's just really the best name out there? What do you think with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Wentz he fills in that criteria, and he is just kind of like that perfect prospect for like KOC's school for quarterbacks that don't throw the ball good. Obviously, he was that number one overall pick for a reason. He's got all the physical attributes. As far as locker room concerns, I'm not as worried about that. By all accounts, he seems like a pretty humble dude. He's a North Dakota State graduate. He grew up being a huge Vikings fan. It could just be like the Midwestern in him, not getting along with the East Coast Philly vibes back in the day.
Fair.
I think it'll be a better fit in Minnesota. I don't think KOC would bring him on if there were character concerns. That has been one type of player they've really been avoiding, are character concern type of guys. It's why when I see ideas tossed around on Twitter about us going after Tyreek Hill, it's cool. It would be cool on the football field, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see him wanting to come here and dealing with these winters any more than KOC and co would want him here. Yeah, I think he fits the criteria. I mean, you can throw out the whole spent a year behind Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, kind of learning what success looks like. Granted, he was also there when they won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia, so he's been around success. Maybe he can take something from that and add to the locker room. But really, I mean, it's like his veteran presence. This actually blew my mind. I heard this on the radio. He's 33 years old, which I was like, what? I thought he was a young guy still.
He came out the same year as Goff, which means he's going into year 9.
Crazy.
Or maybe 10.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I would have guessed he's 28, 29. I would not have guessed he was over 30, let alone 32, 33. So yeah, like I said, sum it up. He's just a perfect, he just fits that mold that Darnold, even Daniel Jones, just one of those kind of veteran journeyman quarterbacks that can really level up their game under the tutelage of KOC. So I like the move. I was also excited about Sam Howell. I thought he was kind of fun to watch in Washington, but obviously he wasn't panning out. So he might be more of a film room type of addition to the quarterback room. And I trust KOC and Kwesi. So if they think it's a good fit, then we'll see what happens. I mean, best case scenario, he doesn't touch the field anyway. But if he does, it is nice to know you got someone with a little bit of experience back there.
Yeah, no kidding. Especially with a rookie like that. Well, redshirt rookie. So I asked this last question here as a fun fan favorite question, but also a good transition over to the Bears because I think there's a lot to relate to the last couple of years. So QB3, we talk about Brosmer, however we say that. He's the camp crush. And as far as roster goes, is it to a point where you think he's a lock to make 53 and that you guys will carry 3? Do you think he's a cut candidate and hope he clears waivers to then go practice squad and get elevated? That's something where that's the same. I say that's related to the Bears is because we had this conversation with Bajent last year, having with a couple guys at the end right now. I was like, well, guys, the teams, yes, they're looking to upgrade their talent, but they also love their guys. There's guys that they're cutting that they're hoping that they can bring back to fill those spots. So
sure.
Are you paranoid? Is it legitimate talent? So is it a love and a crush? Is there something really workable here? What's if you had to make a decision on the 53, are you cutting him and let him go? Or are you carrying 3 quarterbacks?
I think they're carrying 3. I think they're carrying 3. We've seen KOC go through 3 quarterbacks in a year, and that led us to, the Pastronaut. So I think he's been there. And he's like, I don't want to be in that scenario again. And I really think with the tape that Brosmer's put out there with some of these really NFL level throws that show a great anticipation. He's throwing the balls as before guys are making their cut. He's shown some really nice layering on his throws, which is a big emphasis in KOC's offense, is the ability to make these layered throws over those linebackers or maybe those creeping six. Yeah. And I think he's put too much out there, and they know if they expose him to the practice squad, he's probably going to get picked up. And I think the moves of letting Brett Rypien go and bringing in Carson Wentz, it's like if JJ McCarthy goes down week 1, it probably isn't Carson Wentz getting that start. It probably is Max Brosmer going in there just because he's shown proficiency in the system. Maybe that changes halfway through the season once Carson Wentz understands, the play calls, all the terminology and stuff like that. But I think just with the clues we've seen, I think it's very, very likely Brosmer ends up on the 53.
Well, that's exciting then if you called your crush and get there. I remember there's Bears times where it's like, oh, this is my camp crush. We had 3 or 4 years in a row where we had 3 or 4 different receivers. Josh Anderson was one for me. Tanner Gentry was another. I was like, this guy is just, he put up 300 yards in the preseason. He does in 12 to 15 catches. It's like, yeah, this guy's got to make it. And then nobody claimed him, didn't even make it back to the practice squad. So it's like, you never know. So I'm excited to hear that. Any final thoughts on the Vikings before I take that transition point?
Yeah, one final thought before I pass the baton. And you brought up a good point earlier about, the roster's getting cut down. You said it's this Tuesday?
Yeah, the 26th. So 2 days from now.
I think given that the Vikings haven't picked up a wide receiver yet, I think it is very, very likely they pick up someone. If nothing else, we don't have reliable punt or kick returners. I think it's likely we don't see a move since we haven't seen one yet. I don't think we'll see one until those camp cutdowns. There might be guys they have their eye on that they want to bring in that they think might not make a roster somewhere. So I think until we see that play out, we probably don't see a trade. So if we do end up trading for the wide receiver, my guess is it's in the back half of this week. So interesting thought, because you saved me maybe some extraneous checks of Twitter as I was doing Thursday and Friday constantly. I was waiting for that Thielen news to come in. So I probably won't be checking that much until after Tuesday. So good call out there.
Absolutely. And one other thing I'm thinking too, and another perfect segue, is a reminder that next week in the NFL, we have the week off, meaning teams have a bye because they got rid of that 4th preseason game. But it also means they have another week to prepare. So one other thing that might be interesting is understanding we have 3 or 4 receivers that are going to be practice squad eligible, probably going to waivers. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but it is not out of the realm of possibility that the Vikings bring in one of the Bears receivers to fill that slot. Not that they'll be starting, but to just get 2 more weeks of intel, because obviously Ben Johnson has all the intel on you guys from having years of experience. So, hey, download a little bit of the playbook. How do they want to do Caleb Williams? What's the new philosophy? How can we pick this apart? And then keep him on the roster for 2-3 weeks and then dump him. That might be the strategic thing too, if it's just looking for a warm body as opposed to a difference maker.
Absolutely. Yeah, good thought. I'm sure, the KOC and co isn't going to leave any stone unturned. I think you see a lot of that. Another great point there. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears don't do the same thing with some of, like, maybe our defensive cuts. I wouldn't be surprised.
We need DBs bad. We're getting injury bug left and right.
that makes 2 of us.
Absolutely. All right. Well, so on that note too, I'm going to take over. Bears played the Chiefs for the last Kansas City game, last preseason game against Kansas City. Starters started, which is great. They actually played the entire first half, and it was a sloppy start, stumbled first play of the game, which is annoying. And Coach Johnson came out and said this, is like, we scripted these plays. It's not Caleb's fault. It's not everybody's fault. The timing was off. It's everybody's fault. I love that answer. Not that he's protecting anyone, but we're just calling it out. It's the national media is like, oh, Caleb really fumbled that ball. It's like, oh, just bad timing. It's not only his fault. It's everything. It's the whole operation. Came back around. Rome Odunze had a couple of good catches after a drop on a 50-50 ball and a touchdown. That's going to be fun to watch, a favorite. The thing that I liked out of the first team, defense didn't do great either, but first team offense, I liked DeAndre Swift's not dancing downhill, put his shoulders down like we're not used to. It was one cut and go. I love that running style personally, and to see that concern kind of be answered, that just shows, the coaching of Eric Bieniemy and the no nonsense style of Johnson. Love that. Will that translate to fantasy? Maybe, but before he got to us, the Bears, he was always banged up. So I don't know if there's value there. Not have to do some homework for my draft tomorrow night, but thought that was cool. The real story, though, is Tyson Bagent, who we were just talking about, Brosmer and the waiver wire and all that stuff. He was a UDFA D2 out of Shepherd 2 years ago. Different regime. He's come in to be the fighting for a spot, works his way, beats PJ Walker, formerly of Carolina, for the number 2 last year. New coach this year. Gets the extension in the middle of the week. 2 years, 10 million up to 16 million over 2 years. He's crying at the podium. It's great. Second half, he comes in, leads a 3-touchdown comeback to win at the final seconds. What a wild 4 days for this man. Goes UDFA to contract extension with a new regime in the first year to winning a comeback preseason. Got it. Don't care. It just shows the culture changing and the tightness of this group, that he's able to do this. And you see how jacked up the entire sidelines is. The coaches are engaged and yelling and, giving the whoo, and you're just like screaming on the sidelines, celebrating hard as if they're on it with him too. It's so cool to see. And I'm going to take that back to a point I made at the beginning of this season of the podcast, is I kind of want to get back to being a fan again. I'm so tired of being pessimistic and right. Not my fault, but it's just something that you see.
You get to know
so
your team
you'll
well
have
after 30 years. You get to understand them and know what to
no
expect from
kidding.
them.
Absolutely. And the things that we're hearing are so wait, I don't have to filter through that. What he said is a factual statement, and I agree with it because they're not trying to lie to us. Like my eyes aren't deceiving me. So you'll have to keep me in check all season just on the bullshit meter of like, is this hype or is this honest? Because again, this is still a 5-win team coming in from last year. Nothing to talk about. I think they're still going to be a 7, 8, 9-win team. They better be come Christmas time pushing for a playoff spot. Not saying they're a lock. There's going to be a lot of bumpy stuff early, especially before the bye in week 5.
Mm-hmm.
But to see the coach come out and say, yeah, no, that was sloppy play. Yeah, no, he was not on time. He needs to be better. We need to improve this. We saw some stuff from camp coming rear to ugly head again. Not acceptable. It's like, wait, yep. So like the news radio segments and the podcast segments are quick because the entire media is like, yeah, this is exactly, wow, thank you. Like we don't have to play this guessing game and all this type of stuff. And for me, it's a kind of the pressure's off. Like I don't have to think critically because I can agree with most of what he's saying.
Yeah.
Just stylistically, which has been a nice relief. So hopefully I get to don't get caught up in the wash of being a fan too much. But man, if anything, the reason I'm spending so much time on this game itself is that it was exciting.
Yeah,
That's
a huge
you hear
comeback.
that? Think about what that means. The last preseason game was exciting. It's the interview for all the other guys. Starters don't start, like comebacks and all this. Who gives a shit? It's like no, that was fun. So that was really cool to get to. I just hope that momentum of excitement carries over.
Yeah. Well, you brought up Tyson Bagent. I had two things I wanted to talk about with him. One, that moment at the podium, just so cool. You love to see it. I mean, obviously this means a lot to him. And I thought it was, I think I saw this in a tweet. This isn't an original thought, but just such a contrast to like this. You look at Pittsburgh with this Cam Hayward, like, he just got extended, and then he's like, well, I just had a great year. How are you not going to pay me more? And it's like, man, you're already making, 20, 30, whatever million it is per year.
And he's a 12, 14-year vet, too.
Right. Yeah. And then you got Tyson Bagent up here just having, he got extended, 2 years for $10 million total? Something like that?
Yep.
And, yeah. So it's a funny contrast of how these things go. And point number 2, I wanted to bring up about Tyson Bagent. This one will be more fun to talk about. I'm going to go ahead and stir the pot here a little bit. I don't know if this has come up on the Bears Twitter sphere yet, but I'm going to go ahead and just start the QB controversy right now. I'll pose the question like this. What are the odds, 0% to 100%, that Tyson Bagent is the starting quarterback for the Bears next season?
For the season, I would say it's like 2%. Like it would
2%.
be a very bad late injury.
I'll take what are the odds he just outright wins it? Like Caleb really loses the.
That's
you don't think so?
That's not anything. No way.
Are you saying because of performance or because of politics?
Yeah, I was just about to say I'm not even talking about politics. The talent is too much there. Maybe they got to do a Bryce Young and like sit him down in worst case scenario for a little bit and let him come back. But even that's absurd to bring up because like I agree. Danny Parkins is a local guy, a Chicago talk host that's now on the national media. He's like, hey, I'm pre-qualifying this statement. I am a Chicago born and raised fan, da-da-da. He comes out like, we're done with the whole conversation that Caleb Williams is a bust. No, Caleb Williams is good. With all of everyone forgets the bullshit from last year. Coaching bullshit. OC fired week 5, 3 different coordinators. Head coach fired mid-season, like first time ever. Still put up the low bar of being the best rookie quarterback for the Bears ever. 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 picks. Like he is good, and I don't think, and 68 sacks. Some of those are his, absolutely. But it's like how much crap that was. I'm not trying to be a homer, but it's like you should be excited for Caleb Williams coming this year. This is not a Jamarcus Russell type concern. This is not something where he's not a bust because he's already done it. Does he slump a little bit? Sure, but it still doesn't make him a bust. Again, guarding against worst case scenario.
Well,
I will take the Tyson Bagent. Go ahead.
I wouldn't say it's that Caleb Williams is not talented, but again, stirring the pot here, he wasn't the QB that Ben Johnson drafted. He might not be the style of quarterback that
you could argue that he's the reason he took the job, though. I mean, come on. I'm going to take. I'm not having this one. We'll check back mid-season. Maybe I'm not having it at all. But I will keep it fun. And say, remember that Tyson Bagent was brought in under a different regime. Flus. was it Getsy was the OC of his last year. They brought in Bagent, and he won out the backup job behind Justin Fields. Then I said Tyson Bagent should start over Justin Fields. He is a better quarterback, not a better athlete, not a better runner, not a stronger arm. He is a better quarterback. Now, fast forward 2 more seasons after his first season, there are teams that he should start for over their current starting quarterbacks. Browns is an obvious one to me.
Sure.
Giants, why not? I definitely think he can start in New York for the Jets over Justin Fields. Just made that comment. That's 3 teams without even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's most of the South, right? Over Bryce Young, probably. I haven't really done a deep comparison. For the Raiders last year, no question. Okay, over Geno, no. But for the Colts, over Danny Dimes, yes, no question. Because I got to think that Anthony Richards getting traded now. Anthony Richardson, flip him for a 5th and try and get something out of that, because you've already shut the door on that, in my opinion. I could go through team by team and it's a yes or no, but there's probably 7 or 8 teams, I think, if we really thought about it, that he could start for. He's not the best arm talent. He's the right-minded dude. He's a guy you want to get behind. He goes through his reads. He takes it. He's tough as nails. He was 2-2 last with the year for Fields' last year. Threw a couple of bad picks, but again, he's a fucking rookie, a UDFA rookie.
Yeah.
So that's your tie back to Brosmer. Is it possible? Absolutely. If you put Tyson Bagent in San Francisco as Mr. Irrelevant instead of Purdy, I feel like he could do a lot of those same things.
Okay. I like that.
Call me a homer. Don't, but that's my twist. Over Caleb? No. Over a significant portion of the league? Yes.
Okay. I like that. I think the Panthers fans might be offended that you say Tyson Bagent over Bryce Young.
Good. Because we have Caleb Williams and the Hall and everything else, and you got a 5'9" quarterback.
Yeah, he got a leprechaun there taking snaps. Well, cool. What else from Bears? Any other Bears news we should be talking about here, Jason?
Other than the highlight sensation of Jade Walker, the UDFA receiver, number 20, that's basically breaking the internet with his dance moves, celebrating a couple of levitating parallel catches on the sideline there. He's the one roster cut coming up this week I'm worried about. Like the comparison for me is like, we know the Bears are taking 3 quarterbacks. We might get some leniency because Case Keenum's hurt. They might put him on NFI for the first 4 weeks so we can get a roster slot. That'd be sweet. But I just feel like virally he's got too much attention. He's shown he's got talent. Jade Walker does.
Yeah.
The battle for the 6th receiver, I think, between him or Devin Duvernay, he's a special teams ace. Our return game and the kick game and the punt game has been terrible. Jade Walker has proven he can play special teams, not as returner, but as a gunner, a tackler. And he actually closed out the game yesterday after he made his game-winning touchdown catch with 3 seconds left. He's on the kickoff and made the closing tackle. Sweet. So I think that's going to be the balance unless they can finagle another spot there, because our first 4 are locked in. DJ Rome, Luther Burden, Zacchaeus. The 5th is probably going to be the run of the returners. We'll see. And then it's like, what do we do with that 6th one? So we'll see. But that's one. If he gets cut, I don't know how the Vikings don't take a look at him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think he's sneaking under the wire there. Other than that, we got a lot of guys hurt. Austin, you could see the total difference in the second team defense with him out.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to need some help pass rush wise this year. I thought we'd be all right. Interior push was good, but they're still not getting home for whatever reason. They just look like a step slow yesterday. And I don't know if that was by design, trying to just stay with contain, or if that was something that was bad day. And that's what an elite organization like the Chiefs do. They come ready no matter what. But yeah, those are my thoughts. We'll have time next week or two coming into the first game of the season to go. Once we know the roster, once we kind of have a feel, get a little bit more into it. But how much more do we want to keep breaking down the
preseason tape
game, right?
No. Yeah, let's not spend too much time on it. We're probably going to put people to sleep. Let's talk fantasy. This is like National Fantasy Football Week. A lot of drafts happening, either just happened this weekend or happening over the next week. I know I got one tomorrow. You got one on Wednesday. I got one more
tomorrow night.
Oh, you also have one tomorrow night. Okay.
Tomorrow's the Contract Dynasty League we've been teasing about. It's the first year, so it's a pretty monumental year. And then I'll have a snake for ESPN on Wednesday night. I think you have is it family league tonight or work league? What's the
tomorrow night's just the standard, the main league snake draft 12 team. I have to check if it's full or half PPR. One of those two. Not going to find out my position until like an hour before the draft. I think is usually when that one gets picked. Then the family league next week, 13 teams. I know I'm picking 12th. And then the other weird wrinkle of that is the Family League also wanted to start a guillotine league, which I'm not sure how we're doing that with 13 teams. But we're also not drafting. We're just going to take the just one draft, and it's just going to be good for both leagues. So that'll be interesting. It's a family league with no money on the line, so it's like, all right, whatever. I'm not too worried about it. But
fair enough.
Interested to be participating in the guillotine league. It'll be my first one. I think I just got a skill advantage on at least half the family, so I'm not too worried about like drafting specifically for the guillotine league, but it'll be a good time.
You know, get your first 7-8 players. After that, like if you're alive after the first 4 or 5 weeks, those last 4 or 5 roster slots are going to be gone because you'll be working the waivers anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should be just fine there. I don't know if we're 13, man. I don't know if it's possible to do it with 13 teams. If you do, I guess you just have to do the playoffs way earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Because everything is predicated that every team that loses goes into you'd be doing playoffs by like week 8.
Yeah, maybe, I guess that might be
and
how
then
it
the
works.
Rosters would be locked.
Yeah.
Because then once you're in the playoffs, the rosters are locked and that you can't, anybody that gets eliminated is not added to the pool. You can still work waivers, but it's just like you're not getting starting quarterbacks or running backs again.
Yeah.
But that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I'm really interested because like right now we're wrapping up the back end of my guillotine league draft. We're doing a slow draft because we got 18 guys in many different states. We've been drafting since Wednesday last week. It probably should wrap up tomorrow. I would think we got 2.5 picks left to go. Similar to you, we were ranked to get our choice of draft slot. So I ended up, I think I had the 8th pick and I picked drafting in the 14th slot. So that's 4 from the end.
Yeah.
Feeling all right. I had Blake Neighbors fall to me, and then on the return, someone started the quarterback run, so I sniped Josh Allen early. And then after that, the depth was always wonky because right now you're already 36 picks in. Because that's in any other league, that's 3 complete rounds, 2.5, almost near your 4th round if you're 10-man league. And then now we're in the point where again I got 3 picks left, and these are guys that will never see the light of day.
Yeah, especially in an 18 team league. It's like, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, just true dart throws.
You got an extra 75 guys that you don't even look at in your normal research. But it is the only league that I have that's a half point scoring. Otherwise, the rest of them are going to be full. So tomorrow night, I've got my dynasty for full point PPR. I get to keep 7. I have 7 contracts that I can allot, and I have to allot them before the season starts. So before whatever that Thursday is. Which will be interesting. So we'll have 13 roster slots. We'll have 4 taxi slots for rookies to sit on the bench if we want. And then for the season without any penalty, you'll pay just their salary, a portion of it, but it's a fixed salary. And then you have 4 IR spots. So I think I have a little bit more freedom knowing that's only 7 contracts and not like 10 or 12 to go old and young. But man, this is what I was going to ask you as you're doing your research, as you're trying to figure out a couple of different strategies. Do I have an early, mid, or late pick for the league that you don't have your slot yet? Where would you ideally like to end up? Do you want to end up getting a top guy and waiting? Do you want to be in the late end and get a double pick? Where are you feeling right now with your research?
Yeah, the sweet spot for me has been between like 7 and 9. And the reason for that is where I personally see the most value there is I like Amon-Ra St. Brown in that spot. I've seen him slip even later than 9, but I have this mantra that you don't win your league in the first round, you can only lose it. And for me, Amon-Ra he's just been so consistent. I know I've said this before, but like we've seen that he tries to keep himself healthy. He avoids taking big hits. And those are basically just the 2 big things. I want a consistent high scorer. Even if he doesn't have the ceiling of Jamar Chase, I don't care that much. Like I just need a consistent guy that's going to not shit the bed for me, either like injury wise or otherwise. Any first round draft pick with a question mark at all, I'm avoiding. Asterisk. Christian McCaffrey is one person this year that I'm not holding that rule to, just because I feel better knowing that he's a full year removed from his injury. I generally don't like guys the year after they've been injured, or if they are like have nagging injuries coming into the season. That's why I'm a little hesitant on Malik Neighbors. I'm a little questionable about now with like Devon Achane also dealing with this calf injury, which how many of these calf injuries have we seen turn into busted Achilles over the last 2 years? Devon Achane scares me off a little bit, but yeah. So getting back to your question, I like picking between 7 to 9. That usually means I get Amon-Ra in the first round, and then I like taking one of my other guys. So when I'm doing a lot of these mocks and I'm picking from this area, usually I end up with like Brian Thomas Jr. in the second round, and I just love having that wide receiver duo of Amon-Ra and BTJ coming out of round 2. And then, you're not really sure how the draft's going to fall after that, but that's kind of been like my ideal pick. Because if you're picking too much higher, if you want one of those top guys, like, for me, it's like Jamar Chase, either Saquon, Bijan. I'm having trouble like parsing those two apart. Now with like some Falcons offensive linemen going down, maybe I give the nod to Saquon, but those two and like CeeDee Lamb are kind of like my top tier guys this year. But when I'm picking that high, I just don't like how the rest of the draft falls for me. I don't like when, round 2 comes around. Usually it's like quarterbacks are looking the most sexy, but then when I do that, I just don't like the depth on the rest of my team. But at the same time, I don't really like the wide receivers or the running backs in that range either. So 7 to 9 has been the sweet spot for me. But how about you?
Yeah, that's something where I've only got one snake this year. I'm thankful. I'm not counting the guillotine because that's just so not the same type of homework. I was going to ask you, I went with the 14th pick, so I wanted a little bit more of that get 2 B+ players as opposed to an A and a B-.
Yeah.
But one controversy I had, I ended up going with Josh Allen because someone triggered the run early. But who came back to me after 18, so 23, I think it was 24. The second-year receivers seemed enticing. Obviously, I went quarterback, but Lad McConkey, Smith and Jigba, or Marvin Harrison Jr. seem to be in this next tier with Neighbors and BTJ. What do you feel about those guys? I love the Marvin Harrison Jr. talent the most, but Kyler Murray and that offense, I don't think they can sustain with Trey McBride there. And Jigba's now the one guy because Lockett and Metcalf are gone. But again, new quarterback with Darnold. McConkey, was, white lightning last year, but you brought back Keenan Allen in a run-heavy system that just got a stud running back, a tank, and Hampton. Yep. So, like, a lot of questions are really valid, especially with unknowns, or you're going off the excitement of the year. So, McConkey and Jigba, Harrison Jr., if you had to pick one, where are you at and why?
Yeah, I loved Lad McConkey early. Basically, before they had Keenan Allen, I was really overdrafting Lad McConkey. I was grabbing him, 7, 8, 9 slots ahead of like where he's projected to go. I still like him. But between Keenan Allen being brought in and like, it's going to be a run heavier offense. I think that limits his upside a bit. That being said, I almost like him in the mold of Amon-Ra St. Brown, where I think he's probably the safest of those options. Sure. I feel like him and Justin Herbert just have that connection. You saw it last year. You saw how Justin Herbert would pepper Keenan Allen with targets. I don't think Keenan Allen's capable of that, but just due to his age, like, I don't think they're going to scheme him up as much, and Lad McConkey will probably step into that role. So I think Lad's probably the safest. I think he's also got the highest ADP of the 3. I'm not sure if that's changed recently.
McConkey's at 16, and Jigba's at 17, and Harrison's at 22.
Yeah, so then you're left with JSN or Marvin Harrison Jr., which they're both kind of speculative picks, right? JSN, he's kind of now the top guy, but you got this new quarterback in Darnold. You don't know how their connection is going to be. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a somewhat underwhelming for fantasy purposes rookie season, although, analysts are quick to point out like, hey, it's actually a pretty solid actual season for a rookie wide receiver. That being said, Marvin Harrison Jr. is actually one of my draft crushes for 2 reasons. One, he bulked up a lot, and I just got a thing for bulky wide receivers. I think they stay healthier. I think it helps them hit those big plays. That extra weight just helps them break the tackle or just become a more effective possession receiver. And it sounds like reports out of camp is that he has a much better connection with Kyler Murray this year. Kyler Murray himself is a full year removed from his last injury. I forgot if it was like a ACL or what it was, but again, I like picking guys up after that. Well, once they have that full year removed from injuries. So for me personally, I'm taking Marvin Harrison Jr. over JSN, and I think JSN it does actually have a higher ADP, I believe. But I like the ceiling on Marvin Harrison Jr. more. I like the continuity he has with the offense, with the quarterback. Sounds like it's heading in the right direction. So I'm feeling better about that than JSN, where, they brought in Cooper Kupp and people are really quick to, they said he's washed because at the end of this last season, he looked a little slow. He's also coming off an injury. I could see him eating into JSN's target share, maybe more than people expect. That's how I'm seeing it.
And they're both similar type receivers, at least with JSN, Lockett, and DK. You had three completely different type receivers.
Right.
But that's definitely something that's lending me caution, especially with the new quarterback, new OC again too, because they're the OC out of Washington only made it a season and he got fired too. I think he's back in Alabama with DeBoer. One more question, draft scenario wise. So let's flip the script. Let's say you get one of the top 3 picks. So let's say you're picking 2 or 3.
Sure.
And you go through your 12, you're coming back, so you're pick 22. Are you seeing that it's regardless? Say you took Justin Jefferson, or you took,
CeeDee Lamb.
Whatever. Position, regardless who you took in that first pick, the question is, do you think at the end of the second round it's worth taking a Bowers or a McBride at tight end and then playing it off from there, just knowing that they're not probably going to be there in the third?
I don't, and I haven't been doing it a lot for almost the same reason why I haven't liked picking quarterbacks in the second round is I just don't like how the rest of the roster fills out around them. In my personal rankings and how I feel about guys, the teams that I've liked the most in my mock drafts are ones where I'm coming out of round 3 with either two wide receivers, 1 running back, or 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver. Those are my favorite. I feel like you can get really good quarterback value later on. There's definitely a drop off in tight end quality, but I don't think it's as significant as for wide receivers or for running backs. I'm totally happy going into the season with TJ Hawkinson or Evan Ingram. And those are guys I'll reach for a little bit in that next year once I lock up, those big 3 flex positions. Or even 4 sometimes. You can usually, I think you can get Hawkinson usually in the 5th if you miss out on him. Evan Ingram, I think has about as high of a ceiling as any of the tight ends in this year's draft. So for that reason, I'm usually skipping out on, definitely Brock Bowers and Trey McBride. I'm not totally sold on the value there. Not that he's going to have a bad season. He could very well be the number 2 overall tight end, but he might average 1 point more a game than he might be averaging 12 or 13 points a game, whereas Hawkinson or Evan Ingram get you 11 or 12. And it's I'd rather wait.
What's the value proposition? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. 100%. Nothing to argue with there. So I have a longer question, but work with me on the transition because it's going to take us to our next topic. It'll be our last topic of the night, and then we'll get you out of here as the viewer because I know you got some more draft homework to do before the work week starts. Fantasy football starts, this week, next week are big draft weeks. Obviously, Madden dropped 2 weeks ago. So I'll give you my answer while you think about this question. Have you ever had, in recent or far-term memory, have you ever been playing Madden and had a player you fell in love with in Madden influence your decision to draft them in your fantasy league? And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about.
Sure.
When I didn't have video games growing up, so my first Xbox experience, I played with friends once in a while, but where I could play every day was in college when I had a buddies, and then I bought my own. And it was at 2010, maybe. Anyway, did the custom draft, drafted my own team for the franchise, and I went and got Deshaun Jackson, and I fell in love with Deshaun Jackson. He didn't do shit in fantasy that year, but I spent extra money on him because it's I could see the boom or bust. I'm in love with the boom. Oh my gosh. And I think he, not only did he suck, but then he got hurt, and it was just a total waste of a pick. So have you ever had anything like that? I know it's childish, and I know that when my examples in college, I've been better, but sometimes, the love of the game gets in the way.
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up because as I've been playing Madden Ultimate Team, so I'm not going to get into how that works. If you don't understand it, I'm not going to explain it to you because it does make a ton of sense
Later
to me.
episode. We'll do it in the bye week.
Yeah. But they do give you a free Xavier Worthy this year. Everyone gets a free Xavier Worthy. And I have just been crushing with Xavier Worthy. And I'm like, I'm like 5% more tempted to like reach for him, but not really. Like, not really. And I'll expound on that and say last year, you know, this is honestly the most, me getting into Madden Ultimate Team this year has been the most I've really played Madden since I was in like middle school.
Sure.
I'm trying to really get back into it and learn like what the new generation of Madden is about. I'm usually just good for once a football season. I'll pick it up and run that like a franchise where you draft your own players and just get the Vikings to the Super Bowl.
I love that too.
And last year when I did that, I had JSN on my team and he was great. He made all sorts of crazy catches, got blasted, held on the ball. I was like, man, I thought he was going to drop that. And I still don't really want to draft him too much this year. So my answer to your question is...
Oh, I didn't even think the opposite. Absolutely. If a guy's burned you.
Well, no, not even like JSN was great when I used him last year in Madden, but it has not made me want to draft him anymore this year.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I like that. What's so you talked about playing a little bit. One more question here. What changes have you noticed? Like what do you not like? What if it's excited you about this new style of Madden? Because again, I haven't played since 21. I got my answer too. Like I like that the stick action is more accurate. And I like that the gameplay has slowed down. Not that the players are slow, but just like the backs used to be speed. It's like, no. Now that they're slower, you have a half a millisecond to like
identify your
react
gaps
a little bit more specifically. Yes, absolutely. A little bit more intentional as opposed to, well, my guy's faster or my jukes rating is higher. It seems like there's a little bit more advantage to user play as opposed to like a better card. And I've also noticed off the bat, there's not like there are metas, meaning the best unbreakable play offensively or defensively for a one play touchdown or glitches, but we don't like playing that way. We're not that competitive like the gamers.
That's no fun
stuff. But I've noticed that this version has lent itself to the benefit of the schemer, guys who know ball a little bit better. It's like, oh, third, whatever, single high. You can run an out route, this and this. You can get your post and a crosser, do a high-low scheme. Like that's the part that I love playing, the chess part of the game. So that's my answer for what I've noticed. What have you noticed that's good and bad in the last, getting used to this new version?
Yeah, I would say like I'll start with the good part, which is like the gameplay mechanic stuff that you mentioned. I think it has gotten better. It feels more realistic. Like we talk about the old Maddens, like Madden 2008, whatever one that had like Ray Lewis on the cover. There was no running in between the tackles. Everything went to the edge. You raced the defense to the edge. You drafted the fastest running back possible that had good truck. Clinton Portis was my go-to. He had like a 95 speed and like a 90 on truck. He could do both.
And I went for LT all the time.
Oh yeah, of course. You gotta do LT
gotta get the
too.
Spins.
And this is it's honestly really hard to do that in this game. I found a lot more success running between the tackles. The defensive side of things seems a little bit more authentic to the real game. Run blocking still drives me crazy sometimes. Like guys just like I was playing yesterday and I was returning a kickoff and I was like, oh, like I got a huge hole on the left-hand side. There's one guy coming at me. I got two blockers. Like I got a free blocker and I don't even see anyone else on my screen. Both those blockers ran past the one guy and hit me. And the guy hit me. I'm like, why not block? Like that would have been, I would have taken that to the house if just one of you stopped to block this guy. So run blocking's still a little glitchy, but yeah, I think the overall game mechanics feel better, I would say, like more authentic. That's the good part. Bad part, I would say, is, it makes me feel like Madden Ultimate Team makes me feel like an old man. Like this is a game mode made for the next generation that want to grind, or like they already spent $60 on this game and now they're trying to sell you all these packs to make your team better, like artificially. What really is killing me is I don't understand half of the stuff that's going on in like the storefront. I don't know what the difference is between a Hail Mary pack and a Boomer Bust pack. Like what is the difference? I Google it. I can't even find it out by Googling. I don't know. They both seem to be, it's like, yeah, maybe you get a really good player, maybe you don't. But like, then what is the difference between these two? I'm getting like season player upgrade tokens. And I can't seem to figure out how to use them. I
How to
Google, I
apply
can't.
them? Yeah.
I don't know that I can't. Maybe it's like a preseason thing. I don't know. There's so many things in the store where I'm just like, I don't understand how any of that stuff works, and it drives me a little crazy because like I got all this, all these different currencies. I'm like, should I spend it on this? Should I spend it on that? I'm kind of like, with this gaming stuff, I try to be efficient and a little perfectionist. Like, that stuff drives me crazy. The auction stuff, I'm just like, what the hell? Yeah, like I gotta auction stuff. I gotta like, oh man, if there's that
You'll
stuff.
find yourself buying more than you will selling in the auction, especially with the amount of time we can't put into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're a no
buy.
money. What is it? No spend, no buy, no spend, whatever is the name of that type of team. Yeah, just grind your solos and get the money they give you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I like the idea of like, scrambling for something fun like that I definitely get the dopamine hit for that. But yeah. It's
I think it could be implemented a little better. I think that whole system could be implemented better. And again, I'm sounding like a grandpa because people that have been doing this for 7 years or whenever they introduce this, it's probably second nature to them at this point.
We got 15-year-olds talking smack to us right now.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Even just like small quality of life things where I feel like there's just too much loading screen. Like, why are we still doing this? Like when the quarter ends, you send me to some like weird little highlight reel that I'm skipping over immediately. I'm like, stop wasting I feel like there's just like a lot of wasted time in between playing the game where I'm just like, dude, let me play the next challenge. Let me just get to the next thing. And it's like, oh, then the reward screen takes forever to load. And then you have to page through like your field pass level and your whatever other thing level. And then your rewards. And they each take like 5 seconds to load. And I'm just like, oh my God, speed this up.
Man, we got to clip that rant and send it to Madden because I don't think you're the only one coming up with that thought. 100%. It
just seems very convoluted.
It's fun when your team's good, and there's a play style that you and I tried playing last week on stream that to do the 2v2.
Yeah,
I think that's once that gets popular because right now I'm sure everybody's busy grinding and figuring it out.
Probably,
but maybe by like Halloween, that's when we'll get our first like theme packs, and then Thanksgiving, and then Christmas gets another one. Like that's when I imagine people get more diverse in the play styles that they're doing because that really is a fun mode for me.
Yeah,
because again, it's so many. After so many reps, we're gonna play each other so many times. We're gonna know how to play each other. We just get bored.
Right.
So it's like can do both once in a while. I was like, all right, you know what? I need to kick somebody's ass. I'm gonna play Will. Yeah. No, kidding. I think you're up. You're up in the series, but it's like
we're tied. We're tied. But I want to know: are you taking it easy on me right now?
No, I'm knocking off 5 years of rust. Like I know schematically, I think on offense I have an advantage right now, but you've hit more big plays on me, and I've hit way more like what the fuck? I just hit the wrong button. So I think it's coming, but we'll see. I still haven't found a playbook that I love yet, but I also haven't put enough time to like lab it. So
yeah, and I'm just rolling with the Minnesota playbook. It works just fine, and now I'm getting to know it, so I kind of know where my favorite plays are. There's like I could conceive of how there'd be like a passing playbook that I like more. I don't love the passing options here, but like. I don't know. It gets the job done. I do feel myself getting better for sure. One of the other bigger changes, and maybe I don't think this was available when I was playing in 2008 or whatever, but all these different defensive alignments and figuring out like, oh, I can do stunts or like I can have my DBs press or play underneath. Figuring that out has been fun. I don't know that I've had like a ton of success, but even with chats with you, I'm starting to understand. I was always terrible on defense. When I would run through my franchises, like my once a year franchises, I wouldn't even play defense. I just played the offense only.
Sim it,
yeah. Because I didn't find it fun, but now I'm starting to have a better understanding of like. I really thought before all I did was defend the little circle my zone defender had, and now you said something that I was like, oh, it's like. And maybe I'm still not thinking about this right, but yeah, if you're just defending the middle of the field, but like everyone else is lined up over a wide receiver, it's like my main focus is going to be this tailback or maybe this like slot receiver. If he comes over here, like that's my duty. And like I've evolved my thinking of like how this works. And like I think I was just thinking it was too zoney, and now it's like, oh no, it's more like responsibility in zone. Which I'm getting used to, which has been kind of fun. And I'm feeling myself getting better and having a better feel for it. Granted, I'm playing against the computer, and the computer, like in some of these events and challenges, is just terrible. Like there's Yeah, but I feel like I'm getting better, and yeah, the defensive side has been kind of fun to learn and get better at.
And yeah, I'm excited to because when we play together, you'll see me doing it. Because like when you're playing against me, you're not really like trying to get my technique down. You're just trying to find your
Right.
spots. But like that a zone defense is meant to. Every defense gives up something, so you got to know like single high, it's man or three. So what are they? What in man? What are they taking away? What are they not? In three, what are they taking away? What are they not? And so as the user on defense, you want to like try and bait and switch, or you want to
Sure.
try and like you're not just taking a route away like you would in real football. You're
Hmm.
like, I'm gonna take this route away because then I know the computer's gonna pick it up over here, and I want to try to like undercut this or bait you into throwing this because I know I can
Yeah.
get there. So that's
Yep.
that's a different thinking because I'm still not great. I get the concept, but I'm still not great at it. I got buddies that put me to shame. But yeah, we'll talk about the 5 different ways to use her next episode, something like that. We'll cheat you out as we get on stream here because it really is fun to share that type of stuff. And
Yeah.
then when you take it to a game where you're playing one-on-one against somebody new, it's so satisfying. It's like first tee shot, you hit a nuke. Nobody
Yeah.
ever does it. No breakfast ball, just nuke it. It's that type of feeling. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
so one last thought. The very first head-to-head game I played in Madden 26, I was getting pretty good. Like my deck was getting upgraded, and I was like, oh, I've been doing like the versus computer event. Like, let me try the head-to-head version. And the guy I played was like that. I mean, it was basically like a race to 28 points. He 28
Yep.
owed me in like 6 plays. It was insane.
Glitched
And
ya?
like,
Yeah.
well, I don't even know if it was glitchy. I mean, he definitely had a better team. Like my best guy was an 80, and I was just littered with like mid to low 70s guys, and he had just had like
Sure.
over 80 guys all over the field, which definitely helped.
For sure. Oh,
But
100%.
I just got thrashed by this guy, and I just sat back and I was like, are we playing different? Like, obviously, I'm not as good as I thought at this
It's
game.
the same sport.
Yeah. So there's definitely some growth there, but I've been putting in some work on Madden Ultimate Team. Team's getting better. I feel like I'm getting better, so that'll be fun. Yeah, hopefully we can get some 2-on-2s going later this season.
Yeah. It'll be fun to watch back too, like one of these episodes, like at the bye week or like halfway through the season or before the playoffs, and just see like how far we've come from now. Or like the best thing is going to be when the draft time comes. Like football season's over, you kill
Mhm.
February and March and April playing Madden because there's other card sets where you can actually take some of these college kids cards. They put them
Mm.
in at the end of the game, and then you can take a token so that you get them next year
Oh,
in some of these
interesting.
sets, and it'll grow along. That's what they've done in the past. So I'm assuming they'll do it again. But keep you interested. But yeah, it's been fun. So we talked a little Vikings, we talked a little Bears, we talked waiver cuts, we talked fantasy football, we talked Madden football. Preseason just wrapped up. We got the bye week over Labor Day. Everyone stay safe over Labor Day. Have fun. Have a little extra cocktail for your boy. Will's gonna be at a wedding, so I know he's gonna be drinking for me too. That'll be great. And then we'll see y'all. The Toshifs are hosting the Johnsons week 1 on Monday Night Football as the Vikings come to Chicago. It's going to be a hell of a time. We're still figuring out how we're going to work that week out, but enjoy the off week.
Yeah.
That's what you have here from Run the North. I'm Jason. This is Will. Bear down, baby.
Skull.